How does a 52-year-old restaurant worker become the obsession of Seoul's most feared mafia boss? It started with blood. The fluorescent lights in the restaurant hummed their usual tired song. Tamara wiped down the last table, her lower back screaming at her the way it did every night around this time. 12 hours on her feet. 12 hours of smiling at customers who barely saw her, pretending she understood Korean better than she did, counting tips that never quite stretched far enough. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She didn't even look. Third call tonight from that same number. The one that always started with Ms. Adeyemi, regarding your outstanding balance. As if her dead husband's gambling debts cared that he'd been in the ground for 4 years. She tossed the rag into the sink and grabbed her coat. The owner trusted her with closing up, had given her the keys 6 months ago. Probably because she was the only one who never complained, never asked for time off, never caused problems. Invisible. Reliable. That's what you became at 52, when you were rebuilding your life in a country that would never fully see you. Tamara did her final walkthrough. Lights off in the kitchen. Register locked. Gas turned off. She reached for the front door, keys in hand. That's when the door exploded inward. The wood didn't just open. It burst, the lock shattering, the bell above clattering so violently it sounded like a scream. A man fell through, literally fell, his momentum carrying him 3 steps before his knees gave out. Blood. That's the first thing her brain registered. So much blood. His left hand pressed against his shoulder, fingers slick and dark, and the expensive fabric of his suit, charcoal gray, probably worth more than her month's rent, was soaked through. He looked up at her. His face was pale, lips pressed tight against pain, but his eyes were sharp. Alert. Calculating even as his body shut down. Tamara's nursing training kicked in before her fear could catch up. 20 years dormant, but muscle memory doesn't forget. She moved, dropping her keys, closing the distance between them as his legs buckled completely. She caught him. Barely. He was heavy, all dead weight and desperation, and she half-dragged, half-guided him toward the nearest chair. He collapsed into it, breathing hard and shallow. Shock. Blood loss. Maybe both. Don't move, she said. Not a suggestion. An order. He nodded once, teeth clenched. She grabbed the clean towels from behind the counter, the ones they used for the tables, white and cheap and about to be ruined, and pressed them hard against his shoulder. He hissed, a sharp intake of breath, but he didn't pull away. His hand came up, gripped the edge of the table, knuckles going white. Gunshot, she asked. He nodded. Through and through. Another nod. Thank God. She'd seen enough of these in the emergency room back in London. Back when she was someone who saved lives instead of someone who wiped down tables. Entry wound, exit wound, ugly and painful but survivable if you stop the bleeding fast enough. She pressed harder. He grunted, his whole body going rigid, sweat beading on his forehead. Hospital, Tamara said. You need a hospital. No. His voice came out rough, accented. Korean, but his English was clear. No hospital. You'll bleed out. No hospital. She looked at him. Really looked at him. Mid to late 50s probably. Expensive suit. Expensive watch. Face that was handsome in a severe, carved-from stone kind of way. And eyes that held something she recognized because she'd seen it before, in London emergency rooms, in men who showed up with knife wounds and refused to give their names. Men who paid in cash and disappeared before the police arrived. Her late husband had owed money to men with eyes like that. Every survival instinct Tamara had screamed at her to call the police. To walk away. To protect herself. She went to the back instead. Grabbed the first aid kit they kept for kitchen accidents, a bottle of soju from the shelf, and came back. This is going to hurt, she said, unscrewing the bottle. I know. She poured alcohol directly into the wound. He went rigid, every muscle locking, breathing hard through his nose, but he didn't scream. Didn't make a sound except for that harsh, controlled breathing. Her hands moved on autopilot. Clean the wound. Pack it with gauze. Pressure. Wrap. Check for arterial bleeding. None, thank God. Monitor his color, his breathing, his pulse at his wrist. Still strong. Still steady. 30 minutes passed. Neither of them spoke. When she finally stepped back, his shoulder was wrapped tight. The bleeding stopped, color slowly returning to his face. He'd live. Probably. You need antibiotics, Tamara said, stripping off her bloody gloves. And proper stitches within 48 hours, or that's going to get infected. I know people. I'm sure you do. He stood slowly, testing his balance. Steadier now. He looked at her, and something shifted in his expression. Something she couldn't read. "Thank you," he said. 2 words. Quiet, but weighted with something that made the air between them feel heavy. Tamara said nothing. What was there to say? "You're welcome for helping you commit whatever crime got you shot?" He walked to the back door, the one that led to the alley, and pulled it open. Paused. Looked back at her one more time. Then he was gone. Tamara stood alone in the restaurant, fluorescent lights humming, hands trembling now that the adrenaline was fading. Bloody towels at her feet. Blood on the floor, the chair, the table. What had she just done? She spent the next hour scrubbing. Bleach and hot water and prayers that nobody would ever know. She threw the towels in the dumpster out back, mopped the floor 3 times, wiped down every surface he'd touched. By the time she locked up, it was past midnight. Her whole body ached. Her hands still shook. Her phone buzzed. That debt collector again. "Ms. Adeyemi, regarding your outstanding balance." She declined the call and started walking home. Seoul's neon lights blurred around her, the city loud and alive and indifferent. She was so tired. So tired of running, of hiding, of being invisible. She had no idea that everything was about to change. 2 weeks passed. Tamara tried to forget that night. Tried to convince herself it had been a bad dream, some stress-induced hallucination. But the memory of blood on her hands was too real. The weight of that man collapsing against her. The look in his eyes, grateful and dangerous in equal measure. She went to work. Came home. Went to work. Came home. The rhythm of survival. Then the phone call came. "Ms. Adeyemi?" A woman's voice, professional, crisp. "This is regarding account number 4721B. Tamara's stomach dropped. That was the big one. The debt that had followed her from London. The one she'd been making tiny payments on for 3 years, knowing she'd never see the end of it. £20,000 her husband had borrowed from people who didn't forget. "I'm calling to inform you that your balance has been paid in full." The words didn't make sense. Tamara sat down on her narrow bed, phone pressed to her ear. "I'm sorry, what?" "Paid in full. As of this morning. You should receive written confirmation within 5 business days." "Who paid it?" "The payment was anonymous, ma'am. Have a good day." The line went dead. Tamara stared at her phone. Anonymous. £20,000. Gone. Impossible. 3 days later, her landlord called. "Tamara says I've been thinking. Your rent is too high. I'm lowering it. 30% starting next month." She gripped the phone tighter. "Why?" A pause. The kind of pause that said more than words. "Just seems fair." He'd never cared about fair before. Not in 3 years. "Did someone ask you to do this?" she asked carefully. No. Just, you're a good tenant. You deserve it." But his voice shook slightly when he said it. The next morning, the restaurant owner pulled her aside before her shift. "Tamara, you've been doing excellent work. I want to promote you. Assistant manager. Significant raise starting next week." She should have been happy. Should have thanked him. Instead, she asked, "Did someone tell you to do this?" His eyes flickered. Just for a second. "What?" "No. You've earned it." But he wouldn't look at her directly. Things kept happening. Small things. Big things. The regular customer who always grabbed her wrist when she brought his food, made comments about her body, demanded free drinks. He stopped coming. Just disappeared. When she asked another server about him, the girl went pale. "He won't be back," she whispered. "Someone had a talk with him." "What kind of talk?" The girl shook her head quickly. "The kind you don't ask about." Tamara felt something cold settle in her chest. Someone was doing this. Someone had paid her debts, lowered her rent, gotten her promoted, removed threats from her life. Someone who'd bled on her floor 2 weeks ago. The restaurant owner found her at the end of her shift. His face was serious, almost frightened. "Tamara SSI." He kept his voice low. "Someone powerful is watching you. I don't know who. I don't know why. But be very, very careful." She wanted to ask more. But the fear in his eyes stopped her. That night, lying in her studio apartment, Tamara stared at the ceiling and tried to make sense of it. Tried to decide if she should be grateful or terrified. Maybe both. The answer came the next evening. She was wiping down tables, 20 minutes to closing, when the door opened. And there he was. The blood and desperation were gone. In their place, a man who looked like he could buy the whole block if he wanted to. Same face, same severe handsomeness. But now he moved with the easy confidence of someone who'd never doubted his place in the world. His suit was immaculate. His shoulder, where she'd wrapped that wound, showed no sign of injury. He walked in like he owned the place. Maybe he did now. She didn't know anymore. "Good evening," he said, his accent softer now that he wasn't dying. "Are you still serving?" Tamara's heart hammered. "Kitchen closes in 15 minutes. That's enough time." He sat at a table by the window. Not the one where she'd patched him up, a different one. Deliberate. Where he could see the door, the street, her. She brought him a menu with hands that wanted to shake, but didn't. "The galbi Jim," he said without looking at it. "And soju." She took the order. Brought him water. Silverware. Moved through the familiar motions while her mind raced. When his food came, he ate slowly. Deliberately. He didn't look at his phone. Didn't hurry. Just ate. And watched her work. The other customers finished and left. The kitchen staff cleaned up and went home. The last server clocked out with a nervous glance at the man by the window. Until it was just Tamara and him. She should have asked him to leave. Should have said they were closed. Instead, she finished wiping down the counter, turned off half the lights, and waited. He stood finally, placed money on the table. Far too much money, and walked toward the door. "Was it you?" The words came out before she could stop them. He paused, hand on the door. "The debts," Tamara continued. "My rent. The promotion. Was it you?" He turned to face her. "Yes." No hesitation. No excuses. "Why?" "You saved my life. So you've paid me back. We're even. Are we?" Something in his voice made her chest tighten. "What do you want from me?" she asked. He studied her for a long moment. "I haven't decided yet." Then he walked out. Tamara stood alone in the empty restaurant, heart pounding, not sure if she'd just been threatened or something else entirely. He came back the next night. Same table. Same order. Same watchful silence. And the night after that. And the night after that. By the fourth night, the kitchen staff were whispering. By the fifth, they were scared. The way they looked at him, it wasn't just respect. It was fear dressed up as deference. On the sixth night, one of the cooks pulled her aside. "Tamara says he whispered urgently. "That man. Do you know who he is?" "Should I?" His eyes went wide. "You really don't know?" "Know what?" But he just shook his head and hurried back to the kitchen. She tried asking the servers. They refused to talk about it. Tried asking the owner. He went pale and changed the subject. Whatever this man was, whoever he was, everyone knew except her. On the seventh night, she decided enough was enough. After closing, she locked the front door. With him still inside. He raised an eyebrow but didn't move. Tamara walked to his table, pulled out the chair across from him, and sat down. "We need to talk," she said. "Do we?" "Who are you?" "Does it matter?" "Yes. Everyone in this restaurant is terrified of you. My landlord lied to me about why he lowered my rent. The owner warns me about powerful people watching me. And you show up here every single night like you're waiting for something. So yes, it matters. Who are you?" He leaned back, considering her. "What do you think I am?" "I think you're someone dangerous. I think people are afraid of you. I think my debts disappearing and my life getting easier isn't kindness. It's something else. And I think you're going to tell me exactly what you want in return. What if I want nothing?" "Everyone wants something." A smile ghosted across his face. "Not warm. Not cold. Something else entirely." "You're right," he said. "Everyone wants something. So what is it?" He was quiet for a long time. Then, this. "Dinner. Watching you work. Sitting in a room where someone looks at me and doesn't see a monster or a god or a transaction. Just a man who needs his shoulder patched up and doesn't know how to say thank you." Tamara's throat tightened. "That's it. For now. And later, I don't plan that far ahead anymore. Disappointment's easier that way." She studied him. Really looked at him. Past the expensive suit and the controlled stillness and the thing that made grown men afraid. She saw loneliness. The same loneliness she saw in her mirror every morning. "What's your name?" she asked quietly. "Kang Soo-hyun." "Kang Soo-hyun," she repeated, testing the shape of it. "I'm Tamara." "I know." Of course he did. "Are you going to tell me what you really do, Soo-hyun? Do you want to know?" She thought about it. Really thought about it. "Not tonight," she finally said. He nodded slowly. "But eventually?" "Eventually. And you'll still be here when eventually comes?" "I don't know yet. Ask me again tomorrow." Something softened in his expression. "Tomorrow, then." He stood, walked to the door. She unlocked it for him. "Tamara?" "Yes. Thank you. For tonight. For that night. For not running. Don't thank me yet. I might still run. But you haven't." "No," she admitted. I haven't. He left. Tamara locked up, walked home through Seoul's neon-lit streets, and tried to figure out what she'd just agreed to. Tomorrow came. And the day after. And the day after that. Soo-hyun kept coming to the restaurant. But now they talked. Small things at first. Where are you from? He asked one evening. Lagos originally. Moved to London when I was 12. Lived there 33 years. Then here. Why Seoul? Why not Seoul? A slight smile. Fair. What about you? She asked. Seoul your whole life? Busan originally. Came here when I was 17. Why? Opportunities. The way he said it told her not to ask more. Not yet. The conversations grew longer. Deeper. He started arriving earlier, staying later. Helped her stack chairs even though she told him he didn't have to. You don't have to do this, she said. I know. But he kept doing it anyway. One night, she brought him tea after his meal. Not the usual. Something different. He took a sip, eyes widening slightly. This isn't Korean tea. No. It's what I drank in London. Every morning for 30 years. Where did you find it? I didn't. I've been saving the last box since I moved here. Rationing it. She sat across from him. Thought maybe it was time to share it. He looked at the cup like she'd given him something precious. Thank you. You keep saying that. Because I keep meaning it. 3 weeks in, she finally asked. What do you actually do, Soo-hyun? And don't say import-export. He set down his cup carefully. Why does it matter? Because I'm 52 years old, and I've made enough bad decisions to last 3 lifetimes. I'd like to know if you're another one. He studied her for a long moment. Then, I run an organization. We handle logistics, shipping, distribution, protection. Some of it's legal. Some exists in gray areas. Some is very much not legal. So you're a criminal. Yes. No hesitation. No justification. Tamara absorbed this. Have you killed people? Yes. Recently? Define recently. In the last year. A pause. Yes. She should have been horrified. Should have told him to leave and never come back. Instead, why are you telling me this? Because you asked. And because you deserve honesty. Most people would lie. I'm not most people. And neither are you. He had a point. I was married for 23 years, Tamara said slowly. To a man who lied about everything. Where he went. What he spent. Who he owed. I found out after he died that he'd gambled away our house, my savings, my daughter's university fund. Everything. He left me with nothing but debt and shame. Soo-hyun's jaw tightened. So when someone lies to me now, she continued, I know. And I walk away. Do you understand? Yes. So I'm going to ask you again, and I want the complete truth. What do you want from me? He was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was quieter than she'd ever heard it. I'm 58 years old. I built an empire from nothing. I have money, power, respect. People fear me. Some hate me. Some want to use me. But no one. He stopped, started again. No one just sits with me. Talks to me. Looks at me like I'm just a man and not a monster or an opportunity or a threat. He looked at her directly. You do. And I don't want to lose that. Tamara's chest ached. That's it. That's everything. They sat in silence for a while. The restaurant hummed around them. Refrigerator, streetlights outside, distant traffic. I'm not afraid of what you do, Tamara said finally. I'm afraid of losing myself again. Of becoming someone's accessory. Someone's burden. Someone who disappears into someone else's life. I would never ask that. You might not ask. But it might happen anyway. Then tell me when it starts happening. And I'll stop. Can you? Stop. He considered this honestly. I don't know. But I'll try. It wasn't a promise. But it was truth. And truth, Tamara had learned, was rarer than promises. Okay, she said. Okay, you can keep coming. We'll see what happens. Something like relief crossed his face. Tomorrow then? Tomorrow. Tomorrow became every day. And every day became something neither of them expected. One evening, Soo-hyun arrived earlier than usual. She was surprised to see him through the window before her shift even started, sitting in his car outside. She knocked on the window. He startled, actually startled, and she saw what he'd been holding. A book. What are you reading? He showed her. Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Her breath caught. You're reading Nigerian literature? Trying to understand you better. I'm not in that book. Parts of you are. He opened to a marked page. The way you talk about Lagos. About leaving. about home being something you carry instead of somewhere you live. She slid into the passenger seat, took the book from his hands. He'd made notes in the margins, underlined passages, actually engaged with it. "You're serious about this," she said. "About you?" "Yes. About us. Is there an US?" Tamara looked at him. At this man who'd shown up bleeding and desperate and somehow ended up reading untouchable to understand her better. "I think there might be." His smile was soft, genuine. The kind that made her forget he was dangerous. She started cooking for him. Real cooking. Not restaurant food. Nigerian food from her childhood. Jollof rice, fried plantains, egusi soup. The first time she brought him a plate, she warned him. "It's spicy." "I can handle spicy." He could not handle spicy. She watched him take his first bite, watched his eyes water, watched him try desperately to maintain composure while his face turned red. "You're dying," she said. "I'm fine. You're crying. It's just very flavorful." She laughed. Actually laughed. For the first time in longer than she could remember. Genuine laughter that came from her belly and made her eyes crinkle. He stared at her like she'd performed magic. "What?" she asked. "I've never heard you laugh before. You've never watched someone suffer through Scotch bonnets before." He took another determined bite. Suffered through it. Drank half the water on the table. "Why are you still eating it?" she asked. "Because you made it for me." Her heart did something complicated in her chest. The next time, she adjusted the recipe. Less pepper. More mercy. "You changed it," he noticed immediately. "How can you tell?" "I can feel my tongue. Thought you might appreciate that." "I would have eaten it anyway." "I know. That's why I changed it." His hand found hers across the table. Warm. Solid. Real. "Tamara." "Yes. This, whatever this is, it matters to me. It matters to me too. Even knowing what I am? I know what you do. Not what you are. It's the same thing." "No," she said firmly. "It's not. What you do is survive in a world that would kill you otherwise. What you are is a man who reads Nigerian literature and can't handle peppers and looks at me like I'm the first real thing you've touched in years." His eyes glistened. Just for a moment. "You see too much," he whispered. "And you see too little. You think you're only the monster. I see the man underneath. What if there's nothing underneath? Then I wouldn't be sitting here." Her daughter called that weekend. Tamara had been dreading it, but also needing it. "Mum. Finally. I was starting to think you were avoiding me." "Never, sweetheart." "So what's new?" "Still working yourself to death at that restaurant." Tamara hesitated. Then, "Actually, I've been promoted. Assistant manager now." "That's brilliant. See, I told you things would get better." "And I've been seeing someone." Silence on the other end. Then, "I'm sorry, what?" "His name is Soo-hyun. He's kind." "Kind? Mom, you haven't dated anyone since Dad died." "Who is this man?" "It's complicated. Everything with you is complicated." But Adana's voice was warm. "Are you happy?" Tamara thought about Soo-hyun's hand in hers. The way he listened when she talked. How he'd brought her that tea. How he'd helped her stack chairs like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Yes," she said. "Scared out of my mind, but yes." "Good. You deserve it, Mum." After they hung up, Tamara sat with her phone in her hands, feeling something unfamiliar. Hope, maybe. Or possibility. Or just the absence of loneliness. She called Soo-hyun. "Is everything okay?" He answered immediately. "I just told my daughter about you." A pause. "What did you tell her?" "That your name is Soo-hyun and you're kind." "That's all. That's the important part." She could hear his smile through the phone. "What did she say?" "She asked if I was happy. And I said yes." The silence that followed was full of things neither of them knew how to say yet. "Tamara?" "Yes." "Thank you." "For what?" "For saying yes." But happiness in Soo-hyun's world didn't come without cost. It started small. His phone ringing during dinner. Messages that made his expression darken. Meetings that ran late, then later. "Everything okay?" she asked one night. "Fine. Your shoulders are up around your ears and you've checked your phone 6 times in 10 minutes. He set the phone down, rubbed his face. "Business complications." "Dangerous?" "Everything I do is dangerous. More dangerous than usual." He didn't deny it. "Can I help?" she asked. "By staying out of it." "That's not helping. That's benching me." "Tamara." "I'm not fragile, Soo-hyun. I survived an abusive marriage, debt, immigration. Starting over at 49 in a country where I don't speak the language. I'm tougher than you think. I know how tough you are. That's not why I'm asking you to stay out of it. Then why? He looked at her, and for the first time she saw real fear in his eyes. Because you're my weakness now. And in my world, weaknesses get exploited. The next day, guards appeared outside her apartment building. 2 men, rotating shifts, always watching. She called him immediately. What are they doing here? Watching. I don't need watching. Humor me. Soo-hyun. Please. Just for a few weeks. Until things settle. The fear in his voice stopped her from arguing. Fine. A few weeks. But things didn't settle. More guards appeared. More late nights. Soo-hyun showing up with bruised knuckles, exhaustion carved into his face. This is getting worse, Tamara said. I'm handling it. At what cost? He didn't answer. Then came the night everything shattered. Tamara left her nursing class at 9 p.m. The streets were busy, well-lit, normal. She walked toward the subway, mentally reviewing material for her exam next week. A black car pulled alongside her. Her heart kicked into overdrive before her brain caught up. 3 men got out. Every instinct screamed run. But they were bigger, faster, and one had his hand inside his jacket in a way that suggested weapons. Tamara Adeyemi? One asked. Her mouth went dry. Yes. Get in the car. We need to talk. No. The man smiled. It wasn't friendly. That wasn't a request. Another man pulled a knife. Didn't point it at her. Just showed it. Just let her see what could happen. Tamara's hands shook, but she kept her voice steady. Who are you? Friends of a friend. Get in. We won't ask again. She looked around. The street was busy, but no one was paying attention. No one ever paid attention. She got in the car. They drove in silence. 15 minutes that felt like hours. Stopped in an empty lot near the Han River. The man in the passenger seat turned to face her. You're close to Kang Soo-hyun. Not a question. Terror flooded her veins, but she forced herself to breathe. I don't know what you're talking about. He laughed. Don't insult us both. We've been watching. We know where you work, where you study, where you sleep. We know he visits you. We know you matter to him. What do you want? Nothing from you. You're just the message. He leaned closer. Tell Kang Soo-hyun that Choi sends his regards. Tell him we know about you now. Tell him this is a courtesy, the only one he'll get. Back off our territory, or next time we pick you up, you don't go home. Tamara's pulse hammered in her ears. I'm nobody. Hurting me won't. You're not nobody anymore. You're his weakness. And weaknesses get exploited. His smile was cold. So be smart, Ms. Adeyemi. Walk away from him. While you still can. They drove her back. 3 blocks from her apartment. Let her out. Remember, the man said as she climbed out on shaking legs. Walk away. Tamara walked those 3 blocks in a daze. The guards, where were the guards? Why weren't they there? She got inside her apartment, locked every lock, and slid down the door. Only then did she let herself shake. Her phone buzzed. Soo-hyun, are you home? She stared at the message. She should tell him. He needed to know. But telling him meant what? More violence? More danger? His world consuming hers completely? She typed yes. Just got back. Tired. Going to bed early. Talk tomorrow. Soo-hyun, of course. Sleep well. Tamara set the phone down and stared at her shaking hands. She didn't sleep at all. For 3 days, she said nothing. Went to work. Went to class. Smiled when Soo-hyun asked if she was okay. Just tired, she lied. He didn't believe her. She could see it in his eyes. But he didn't push. On the 4th day, he found out anyway. He showed up at her apartment at midnight. Didn't knock. Used a key she didn't know he had. Walked in looking like he'd torn the world apart looking for something. Why didn't you tell me? His voice was low. Controlled. Dangerous. Tell you what? About Choi's men. About the threat. Her stomach dropped. How did you? I have cameras everywhere. I saw the car. Saw them take you. I've been tearing Seoul apart trying to find them, and you've been acting like nothing happened. Because nothing did happen. They threatened you. And I handled it. By staying silent. By not making it worse. Silence crashed between them. Soo-hyun closed his eyes. When he opened them again, the anger was gone. Just exhaustion and something that looked like fear. Tamara, please. Help me understand. She stood, paced to the window. Seoul glittered below, indifferent to her crisis. What do you want me to say? That I'm terrified? I am. That I knew this would happen eventually? I did. That I'm wondering if being with you is worth dying for. He flinched like she'd struck him. And, he asked quietly, I don't know yet. He left. No argument. No anger. Just left. For 2 days, nothing. No calls. No visits. No texts. Just silence. Tamara told herself it was better this way. Safer. She didn't believe it for a second. On the third day, the news reported that a mid-level gang had been dismantled. Leadership arrested or missing. Operations shut down completely. The name mentioned Choi. Her phone rang. Soo-hyun. She answered. Come to my apartment, he said. Please. She went. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. His knuckles were bruised, split open. There was a cut on his arm that he'd wrapped himself, but it needed proper attention. Sit, Tamara said. I need to. Sit down. He sat. She found his first aid kit, cleaned his knuckles, rewrapped his arm properly. The familiar motions calmed her shaking hands. I was married to a man who destroyed himself with small weaknesses, she said quietly as she worked. Gambling. Lies. Cowardice. She tied off the bandage on his arm. You built something, even if it's built in shadows. I'm not afraid of you, Soo-hyun. You should be. I'm 52. I've survived an abusive marriage, widowhood, poverty, debt collectors across 2 continents. You think a little blood scares me? Then what does? She sat back, looked at him directly. Losing myself again. Becoming someone's accessory. Someone's burden. Someone's victim. That terrifies me. I would never. You wouldn't mean to. But it happens anyway. The guards. The threats. Your world swallowing mine until I'm not Tamara anymore. I'm just Kang Soo-hyun's woman. Just another piece on your chessboard. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood, walked to his desk, came back with an envelope. What's this? She asked. Open it. She did. Inside, a plane ticket to London. New identity documents. Bank statements showing an account in her name with enough money to start over. Really start over. She stared at it all, not understanding. I'm setting you free, Soo-hyun said. His voice was steady, but his hands weren't. Go back to London. Be near your daughter. Start the life you should have had. You'll be safe. Away from my world. Away from everything that wants to hurt you to get to me. And you. I'll know you're safe. That's enough. Is it? He didn't answer. Tamara looked at the ticket. At freedom. At safety. At her daughter. At everything she'd wanted for 3 years. All she had to do was leave. She picked up the envelope. Soo-hyun's expression went carefully blank. Like he was bracing himself. She tore it in half. His eyes widened. What are you choosing? She tore it again. And again. Let the pieces fall to the floor between them. What are you doing? His voice cracked. You think you're giving me freedom? I ran from Lagos to London. London to Seoul. I ran from debt, from shame, from my dead husband's ghost. I'm 52 years old, Soo-hyun, and I am exhausted from running. This isn't running. This is protecting you. From what? From you? I don't need protection from you. From my world. From what I am. She stepped closer, took his face in her hands, made him look at her. Here's what I know about you. You're dangerous. You've done terrible things. Your world is violent and dark. People fear you. People want to use you. People want to kill you. She felt him try to pull away but held firm. And you know what else? For the first time in 30 years, someone sees me. Not a wife. Not a nurse. Not a refugee. Not a charity case. Not someone to fix or save or pity. Just Tamara. And I'm not ready to give that up. You don't know what you're saying. I'm 52. I know exactly what I'm saying. I don't know how to do this. His voice broke completely. I'm 58 years old. I've killed men. I've built an empire. I've survived things that would destroy most people. But I don't know how to be someone's someone. I don't know how to love without destroying. Then we'll figure it out. Both of us too old to pretend we know what we're doing. Both of us too stubborn to quit. He pulled her close then, buried his face in her shoulder, and she felt his whole body shudder. This man who'd faced down gangsters and bullets and death, undone by the simple act of being seen. I'm terrified of losing you, he whispered against her hair. Good. I'm terrified of losing me. So we'll both be careful. They stood like that for a long time. Two people who'd spent most of their lives alone, learning what it meant to be less alone together. 3 months later, things had shifted in ways Tamara couldn't have predicted. She quit the restaurant. Not because Soo-hyun asked, he never asked, but because she chose to. She'd passed her nursing recertification. Had options now. She opened a small clinic in one of Seoul's immigrant neighborhoods. The kind of place that asked fewer questions, charged less money, helped people who fell through the cracks. Soo-hyun funded it, but it was hers. Her name on the license. Her rules. Her patients. "You're doing good work," he said one evening, reviewing the month's patient numbers. "Don't sound so surprised." "I'm not surprised. I'm proud." The word hit different coming from him. She video called Adana more often now. Told her the truth about things. Not everything. Some truths were still too complicated, but more than she had before. "You sound different, Mum," Adana said during one call. "Different how?" "Happy. Like actually happy, not just I'm fine happy. I am happy. Terrified but happy." "Good. You deserve it." A pause. "When do I get to meet him properly?" "When you visit. I'm thinking Christmas." "I'd like that." After the call, Soo-hyun appeared with tea. Sat beside her on the couch in his apartment. The apartment that had slowly accumulated signs of her presence. Her books on the shelf. Her favorite mug in the kitchen. Her toothbrush in the bathroom. "She wants to visit," Tamara said. "I heard. I'll make sure everything is safe." Soo-hyun. "What?" "She's going to have questions. About what you do. About us. About why there are armed men downstairs." "What do you want me to tell her?" "The truth. She's 28. She can handle it. And if she tells you to leave me, then I'll tell her the same thing I told you. I'm old enough to make my own choices." His hand found hers. Familiar now. Solid. "I don't deserve you," he said quietly. "Probably not. But you've got me anyway." But peace was always temporary in Soo-hyun's world. It happened on a Tuesday. Tamara was at the clinic, treating a young mother's sick child, when one of Soo-hyun's men appeared. He looked panicked, which was wrong because these men never looked panicked. "Ms. Adeyemi, you need to come now. I'm with a patient. Now. Please." The drive to Soo-hyun's office building felt like drowning. The man wouldn't tell her what happened. Just drove fast and silent. They brought her upstairs, through corridors she'd never seen, to a room where Soo-hyun sat at a conference table surrounded by men in expensive suits. There was blood on his shirt. Not his, she could tell immediately, but blood nonetheless. "Everyone out," he said when he saw her. The room emptied in seconds. "What happened?" Tamara asked. "Sit. Tell me what happened." "Please sit." She sat. He paced. She'd never seen him pace before. "There was an attempt," he said finally. "On my life. At the restaurant where we met. They thought I'd be there tonight. I wasn't." Her blood went cold. But the new assistant manager was. The woman who took your position. She looked enough like you from a distance. Wrong age, wrong ethnicity, but they didn't check carefully. "Is she?" "She's alive. In the hospital. But they thought she was you, Tamara. They thought they were sending me a message by hurting you." Silence crashed through the room. "This is what I was trying to protect you from," he said. His voice was raw. "This is why I wanted you to leave. Because staying with me means this. Means looking over your shoulder forever. Means people using you to hurt me. Means..." "Stop. Tamara. Stop. Sit down." He sat. She stood, walked to him, took his bloodied hands in hers. "Is she going to be okay?" she asked. "The assistant manager?" "Yes." They caught her at closing, roughed her up, but she fought back. Made enough noise that people called police. "She'll recover." "Good. Then here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure she's taken care of. Medical bills, time off, whatever she needs. We're going to make sure she knows this wasn't her fault. And then we're going to figure out how to make sure it doesn't happen again. There is no making sure. This is my life. Then it's our life. You can't. I already chose Soo-hyun. Remember? I tore up the ticket. I stayed. You don't get to make me leave now just because things got scary. Someone could have killed you tonight. Someone could kill me crossing the street. Someone could kill me in a plane crash. Someone could kill me with a heart attack. Living means risk. I've chosen which risks I'm willing to take. And if I can't live with that choice..." She cupped his face, made him look at her. "Then you tell me. Right now. Do you want me to go?" He closed his eyes. "No. Do you love me?" His eyes opened. "Yes. God help me, yes. Then we figure it out. Together. Like we've been doing. I've never been afraid like this before," he whispered. "Good. Means you've got something worth being afraid for." He kissed her then. Desperate and gentle and full of all the things they were still learning to say. 6 months passed. Then a year. Tamara's clinic grew. She hired 2 more nurses, expanded hours. became known in the immigrant community as the place that helped, that didn't judge, that kept you safe. Soo-hyun's world remained dangerous. There were more threats, more close calls. But they adapted. Better security. Smarter precautions. Learning each other's rhythms. She moved into his apartment officially. Stopped calling it his apartment, started calling it theirs. Adana visited for Christmas. Took one look at Soo-hyun and pulled Tamara aside. Mom, he's a gangster. I know. Like, an actual Korean gangster. I know. And you're okay with this? Tamara thought about it. Really thought about it. I'm 53 years old. I spent 30 years being who everyone else needed me to be. Your father's wife. Your mother. The good nurse. The invisible immigrant. I'm tired of being invisible. So you're dating a gangster to be visible? I'm dating a man who sees me. Who looks at me like I'm the most important person in any room. Who reads Nigerian literature to understand where I come from. Who can't handle spicy food but eats it anyway because I made it. Who's terrified of losing me but lets me choose anyway. Adana was quiet for a moment. Then, does he make you happy? Yes. Really truly happy? Really truly happy. Then okay. But if he hurts you, I'm flying back here, and there won't be enough gangsters in Seoul to protect him from me. Tamara laughed. Deal. That Christmas dinner, Soo-hyun, Tamara, and Adana, was one of the best nights of Tamara's life. Watching her daughter and her, whatever Soo-hyun was, talking and laughing and slowly building something like trust. She's wonderful, Soo-hyun said after Adana left for her hotel. She is. She gets that from you. She gets that from surviving me and her father. No. He pulled her close. She gets that from you. 2 years in, Soo-hyun proposed. Not with fanfare. Not with a grand gesture. Just the two of them, in their apartment after dinner. Marry me, he said. Tamara looked up from the dishes. What? Marry me. I know it's complicated. I know my world is dangerous. I know there are 1,000 reasons to say no. But marry me anyway. Why? Because I'm 60 and you're 54 and neither of us is getting younger. Because I want to spend whatever time I have left waking up next to you. Because you're the first person I think about in the morning and the last person I think about at night. Because you make me want to be better than what I am. Tamara dried her hands slowly. You know I'm not easy. I don't want easy. You know I'll never be the quiet wife who stays home and doesn't ask questions. I don't want quiet. You know I come with baggage and trauma and a daughter who will absolutely murder you if you hurt me. I'm counting on it. She smiled. Then yes. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. But on one condition. Anything. We do it small. Just us, Adana, and whoever you want there. I don't want spectacle. I want real. Real, he agreed. I can do real. They married 3 months later. City Hall in Seoul. Adana flew in. Soo-hyun's second-in-command stood as witness. No fanfare. No press. Just two people in their 50s choosing each other despite everything. At the tiny restaurant afterwards, Adana raised her glass. To my mum, who taught me that it's never too late to choose yourself. And to Soo-hyun, who somehow convinced her he was worth the risk. Soo-hyun smiled. I'm still not sure I convinced her. I think she's just stubborn. I am stubborn, Tamara agreed. But I'm also right. About what? About you. About us. About this being worth it. He kissed her then, in front of their tiny wedding party, and Tamara thought about how far she'd come. From that night in the restaurant, blood on her hands and fear in her heart, to this. To choosing love at 54. To building something real with someone impossible. Life didn't get easier. Soo-hyun's world was still dangerous. There were still threats, still close calls, still moments when Tamara wondered if she'd made the right choice. But then he'd bring her tea in the morning. Or read another Nigerian novel to understand her better. Or simply sit with her in comfortable silence while she worked on patient files and he worked on his business. And she'd remember why she'd stayed. Not because he'd saved her. Not because she'd saved him. But because they'd chosen to save each other. 5 years after that night in the restaurant, Tamara stood in her clinic, treating patients, building something good in the world. Her daughter visited twice a year. Her marriage was complicated but real. Her life was hers. And when Soo-hyun picked her up that evening, when he took her hand as they walked to their favorite restaurant, not the one where they met, that one held too many ghosts, but a new one they'd discovered together, she thought about her grandmother's words. Every debt must be paid. Maybe. But maybe some debts weren't about money or obligation or transaction. Maybe some debts were just about seeing someone, really seeing them, and choosing to stay anyway. Tamara squeezed Soo-hyun's hand. He squeezed back. And they walked into the Seoul night together. Two people who'd found each other in blood and darkness, and built something like light. If Tamara's story touched your heart, if you believe it's never too late to choose love, to choose yourself, to start over and build something real, leave a comment below. Tell me, what would you do if you had to choose between safety and love? And if you want more stories like this, stories about second chances, about finding love when you least expect it, about women who refuse to be invisible, hit that subscribe button. Because Tamara and Soo-hyun, their story is just the beginning. New stories every day. Real characters. Real emotions. Real love. I'll see you in the next one.